Hello? Okay, there you go. Whatever. The chat is not doing great, but I can't be I can't be bothered to figure out how to change the CSS. Well, anyways, I'm pretty surprised because the webcam. If I set VTuber Studio to webcam to use my webcam, which is actually my phone because I use my phone for a webcam, it actually works a lot better because it doesn't use the front camera, it uses the back camera. And yeah, it just works so much better. I think they are using the open source VC Face engine, and it's honestly much better than uh, v, VTuber Studio's native engine. So there we go. Let's see if it connects. Hold on, I don't know where respect is. Hold on. Let's see. The overlay always breaks whenever I play this cursed game. I don't know why. Is it fixed now? No? No? Overlay isn't working. I don't know why. Is it working now? Yes, it is. But now it doesn't say Minecraft. It's just... well, whatever. I don't care anymore. Okay. Is it working? No, it's not even working. Or maybe it's not working because there's nobody else here. Well, anyways. What was I doing? It was, I was going to check the beach out because, they said they worked on it. Holy cow! That's amazing. And I'm just waiting for Respect to come in because, he said he will. Oh, where's the chat? Oh, you worked on the church? Why did you build a church? That's not even part of our... Oh, okay. Church. Wait. Oh, did you hear that ding noise? Okay, that might be annoying. Where's the whoa. Luna, what is this church? It's kind of... it's kind of scary. Okay. I don't understand. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Oh, the overlay is working. Nice. Luna's church is not doing that well. Oh, it's a Yosshhh shrine. Okay, okay, I see. Oh, the whole mountain, I see. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know where you wanted to start, Respect. You could just start with talking about
No,
everything.
it's I don't know. I don't know. I mean, where do I even start? It's like I
Mhm,
guess the simplest way I can say it is uh, there's
mhm.
nothing that make I don't know. I can't have fun with anything. Or like I don't want to do anything because nothing makes me or brings me joy. Like that's the simplest way I can put it, I guess.
I mean, okay. I don't know. I guess I don't completely I don't I can't.
Understand. Like
No, no,
put
no. I
yourself in
just
that position.
oh wow, I'm echoing on your side a lot, by the way.
Oh, let me just okay, hold on.
But anyways, oh, okay. I'll just wait for you to come back.
Yeah, you can talk while I'm doing this.
Okay. So like, well, I just don't trust that judgment because I don't think that's true at all. Like honestly, um, just from I mean, I don't know you, but like just from your actions and your skill sets, I don't think that's true. Because I don't think you're depressed, first of all. Because I know depressed people and they don't do anything. Like anything, and they can't get anything done. Like whatsoever.
I
So
don't do anything.
I mean, that's not
Okay,
true.
I mean, okay. Do you remember that meme I posted? Let me scroll to it even.
Okay.
That is my life for like, I don't know, since I
Okay,
was 14 or something. Let me
okay,
find it. Yeah, here it is.
post it post it in one of the chats. I'll show it on stream or something, I guess. Um
It's the one with like open Steam library, stare at games, open Chrome, google.com, stare at screen, youtube.com, scroll down, close browser, stare at desktop icons of games, open Steam library, repeat for 3 hours until it's socially acceptable to start making noise. Like, it's that sort of thing.
I mean, so you're saying that there's a monotonous lifestyle that you're just going through every single day.
Yeah, to be fair, it was worse in the past. I remember, I don't know, was it 7th or 8th, probably 8th or 9th grade, where my
Uh-huh.
PC broke for the summer.
Uh-huh.
And basically, my dad didn't buy a new processor because he's like, oh, finally, I'm gonna quote unquote cure his computer game addiction. And the whole summer break, which lasts like 3 months, also back in the day, my sleep schedule was reversed. So wake up all night, sleep during the day, wake up at like 4 p.m. And since I had no computer, I would just I literally lied in my bed for 3 months with my phone in my hand, and I just watched live streams all day and YouTube videos. That was my life.
Okay. Okay.
And going to school was going out of obligation. Like that's the only way I can make myself do something. If it's like I have to do it. So I sign up for
What
something, well, I have to do it
uh-huh.
now because I have the, I don't know, it's sort of a mental trigger. I've signed up myself for it, so I have to do it. I have no choice but to do it because, again, I have no choice but to go to school, and that was its own hell or version of it. And after school, I signed myself up for university because I know if I don't sign myself up, I'm just not gonna go. Like I'm not gonna do anything. So I'm putting
Mhm.
back the sense of obligation to do something
Mhm.
so I can actually go. Like right now, university, it's fucking stupid. Like I'm not learning anything. It's go to my class, do whatever they're doing because it's easy, and then just do nothing. I never study because it's a waste of time, or at least I view it as a waste of time. And it's an improper way in my eyes to learn something because everywhere they make you uh, memorize instead of actually understand and learn.
Mhm.
So I would just not do it because it's boring. It's useless. Like I remember for my, was it psychology class, something like that.
Mhm.
I couldn't get good scores on the test. Also, by the way, I ended top of the class or top of the school even every single year, even with this. So like just to show how low the level is. Uh, I had to memorize the entire psychology textbook word by word just so I can get the highest grade. And I did it. But again, I memorized it a week later. I don't remember anything. So what's the point in all the other subjects to do the same? So as a result from that, everything I do is last moment. Like 5 minutes before the test, oh, let me open my notebook, see the notes we have, and oh, would you look at that? The test has the exact same questions as the notes. How surprising. And I don't know, I was baffled that no one else was doing it. Like, why don't they just do that and get it over with, sort of thing. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but where was I again
No,
before
it's
this?
okay. No, I just want to get a
Oh, I guess,
context for,
yeah, I
what
guess
you're
I'm
thinking
just,
about.
yeah, throwing context basically.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
for
that's fine.
university, I guess it's the same thing. where I just go to my practical classes. I figure out logically what they're asking from us. So if it's programming, programming logic. If it's, I don't know, something else, you just figure out the algorithm and you solve the thing. And it's like, okay, I'm solving something. I have no idea why, what for, but I'm solving it. I can solve it. Good enough for me. I'm getting my perfect scores on the tests. I don't care. Like that sort of thing. And then there's like the final exams for like finals for the year or semester, which for them you usually have to study, quote unquote, memorize everything, which I despise. And ever since I've started university, I haven't done that a single time. But I've gotten lucky every single time, because with the pandemic and everything, you're online, you see the test, you just open your lecture slides and scroll through the information, enter it. It's like that sort of thing. And then for the actual exercises, I solve them because I know how to solve them during the practicals, and that's pretty much it. So I don't know what it's gonna be when, I don't know, I guess we go back to physical tests and everything, because then I'm not just gonna be able to do anything in that sort of way. But even so, and I hate getting low scores, I'll probably not study again. I always wait. This is like a life philosophy. I just always wait until the last moment possible and study then, and it always works out. So my brain's like, okay, that's a valid strategy. Just keep doing that. And I guess it's sort of a loophole. Like I have finals, I have a month to study or something, and I'm like, okay, I have a month. 2 weeks later, okay, I have 2 weeks. 1 day before the test, okay, I have 1 day. It's like that sort of thing. And it always works out. So that's always how I've done it. And it's not good. But I don't think I can ever force myself to study per se, because that's just, I don't know, it's a waste of time. Again, I'm just gonna forget it anyway. Why should I waste my time on it? As for the thing you said about, I don't know, expertise or like skill set, I don't view it as such or as anything important, because I literally haven't done anything to obtain it. It just happens by itself. So I can't view it as something I've worked for, because it just happens. And I've always been told that that's, well, just underestimating what I can do. But that's just the reality of the situation. Like, I am intelligent enough to where I just have to, I mean, this doesn't even matter about intelligence. Every person can do this. You just, to learn something, you start doing it, and you do it over and over, and it just sticks to you, you know? So that's the reason I'm fluent in English. Like, I haven't studied English. I just sort of happened to learn it by accident, by just being on the internet. Same with Japanese and everything else I know. It just sort of happens. So I don't view it as anything I'm good at or anything I deserve like praise for, because I haven't done anything to get it. I'm just sitting in front of a computer all day, if that makes sense.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. You know, I think everything that you're saying is logical and quite rational, and I think you know that too.
Yeah,
like yourself.
That's how
like you're aware
think.
of that.
I would act logically first instead of emotionally, if even emotionally. I don't know if I still have that left in me.
So I guess there's one thing I can ask you about, which is, so how do you feel about that state of things? Are you okay with it?
Not a fan.
What do you mean by not a fan?
I don't like it because as I read that meme before, I'm just losing my mind. So everything I'm doing during the day is I'm only doing so I don't lose my mind, if that makes sense. So if I find or not find, if suddenly I feel like a streamer that is
Uh-huh.
entertaining to watch or
Uh-huh.
becomes entertaining for me, and it could be for a week, but that's still a week of streaming I can watch. If that becomes
Sure.
entertaining, I'm just gonna watch that all day. Or if I find a channel, I'm gonna consume all of their videos and content for the entire day
Uh-huh.
because it'll be interesting and engaging enough so I don't have to go crazy. So
Hmm.
I would constantly scroll through. The worst part is when nothing's interesting. At least now
Uh-huh.
I watching at least one league streamer who's like streaming for 10 hours a day, so that's fine. Just starts early at lunch and I just get to watch until the evening, so that's at least one good thing.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, that's it. Like, that's been my life for the past 7 years. I just watch streamers or YouTube videos and do nothing else.
I mean, okay.
Like, I don't have
So,
per se
uh-huh.
hobbies. I don't have interests. Nothing like makes me go like, oh, I want to learn that, or oh, I want to do this like for a few hours today because it's fun. Like, I haven't had that.
Okay. I mean, it sounds like you're reaching existential crisis at this point. Would you say that's true?
If this is what we define as existential crisis, probably, yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you're aware of your own situation in a way. You're aware of what will happen and what will occupy your time, but you're not happy about it. It's not like this is something that is bringing you like a deep sense of fulfillment or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Okay. You know, I mean, it sounds to me like you're just getting temporary happiness, and you're just kind of sick of getting temporary happiness, but
Mhm.
that's the only way that you've ever done it, so you keep doing it, and that just makes you go crazy. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's always, yeah, that fits pretty well because YouTube videos, streams, temporary happiness, clicking through, like just sitting in Discord and waiting for the little white thing to flash on the left of the server icon so I can just go click, check the messages read, and move on again to the next server and just do that all day. That's so, I had to close Discord for a few days at one point because that was just making me lose my mind. Like when I really have nothing to do.
I
So it
mean,
fluctuates.
okay, okay. Well, um, I have I don't know what to call it. I have a clinical answer, I guess. It's not like I'm clinically certified in any of this or whatever, but like I have an answer I would give to, um, not saying you are one, but I have an answer I would give to some high schoolers, for example. And the reason why I'm saying that is because most of the college students I work with are people that um, have some sort of direction they want to go to, but don't know how to get there.
Yeah, they
And
have
I don't think
ambition
you.
for something.
Yeah, I guess you can call it ambition. Whether or not it's warranted is another thing. But yeah, it might be naive. That's fine. And I don't think you fit that category. So I'm not saying high schooler as in you're at the mental state of a high schooler, which is definitely not true.
I mean, I
Um,
probably am, to be honest.
no,
But
I don't
yeah,
think
I don't have
so.
that I don't have that mental state of I have an ambition or a direction to go to. I'm just drifting through the day and I just go to the next state, you know.
hmm
The only reason I'm in computer science is because I signed myself for computer science, so I do something.
hmm
And at least because usually I don't think Okay, actually, finish your thought first. Yeah, finish your thought.
Yeah, sure. Um, so basically, what I was saying was, like, if because what I would tell high schoolers is two different things. Basically, well, okay, maybe I should just stop saying high schoolers. Basically, people who still can't find ambition, right? Um, I either tell them you need to broaden your exposure to different things, or if that is obviously not what needs to be done, um, then I would tell them that it's not really exposure, but rather you're understimulated. That the environment that you're in is probably not the place you should be in, right? And honestly speaking, like, I don't know if you would agree, but like, it sounds to
Yeah,
me
it
from
makes
the
sense. Yeah,
it sounds to me
like
from what you're describing about how your life has been, or what even society has given you, that it's just understimulating, right? That
yeah,
you're pretty naturally intelligent, and I would actually say I'm the same way. I sort of relate with your experience in high school, which is you never had to study, you never really had to try, and you can naturally get pretty good grades. You can naturally do pretty well, and the reason why is because everything is rote memorization, which you can deal with if you put enough stress into it. And but you understand that you're intelligent enough to know that that's not a effective way of learning something, so you're not even happy about that, right? Like these are
yeah,
all things that make me think you're not a dumb guy at all. You know what is effective, what is not. You know how to get things done, how to not. Um, this all said, intelligence doesn't equate to being able to get things done or to um, have an ambition, right? And,
yeah,
and you know that from firsthand, that just because you're smart doesn't mean you get anything done. So I understand all of that. I think that you know I would say that you're understimulated, and that um, perhaps you need to. Okay, so I don't know if this is something that you would honestly agree with from the get go. But I almost think that you are too comfortable in your setting right now, and that you need to um,
challenge.
kind of not challenge, but sort of enter, not challenge for challenge's sake, but sort of enter a setting, or create a setting for yourself where you are facing some of those like existential crises and thoughts more directly, right? And the human natural defense mechanism is that you don't want to do that. You shouldn't do that, because creating stress in your life is bad. But paradoxically, I personally think that for anybody trying to reach ambitions, or some sort of motivation, you have to go through a certain level of stress. Like,
Yeah, I
that's
mean
part of
everyday
maturity.
life. Yeah,
Yeah. And
I
honestly,
mean that's why I sort of agree with high schooler
uh-huh.
mentality, because it's like, oh, I don't like I it's like I want to live in a fantasy or something where I magically have ambition and everything is carefree and like life is going great. So that
Well,
from that point, I
uh-huh.
agree with high schooler mentality.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I don't remember. I think my dad told me this at one point, but I don't know who he got it from. But if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. So
Right.
that's kind of like in not contrast, in reference to you saying like understimulating environment, which I completely agree, because high school was just again a fleeting memory, something that was I didn't want to be there. There was only, at least thankfully, there was two people in my own class that at least were sort of like me. Everyone else was
Mhm.
insufferable. It was terrible.
Insufferable? What
So
do you mean by that?
Is that another word? Let me check.
No. I'm just saying, like, in what
Like
way were they insufferable?
you can't stand them. Like their idiocy. Like
Okay.
I don't even
I
know
mean,
if I can
I
call
mean,
them jokes, but
uh-huh.
those jokes they made up in 8th grade, they were still laughing at and saying in 12th grade, and I'm just like, holy fuck, stop! Like
Okay.
you said it once, you don't need to say it 1,000 more times, and they're still laughing. Like and general like childish mannerism and
Uh-huh.
goofing
Uh-huh.
around and being disrespectful and annoying. Everything you know the picture.
Okay. I get what you mean. Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, I honestly think that you may be understimulated in a lot of different things, and that it's not really a problem of um, is there something wrong with me, um, or even that the world isn't fair, because some people will get into that weird mentality of, oh, the world isn't fair, which is honestly speaking, very immature in my opinion. It reeks of like chunibyo kind of thing.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think I have the right to say it. Yeah, uh, not at all. Because I mean, I live in you could
uh-huh.
say a lower standard country, but we're living pretty well off. Like
Yeah,
I have
sure.
a roof over my head. Like I eat good food. I
Uh-huh.
have a fucking
Uh-huh.
computer that probably someone has to save a few of their salaries to get. Like
Uh-huh.
I'm well set off, so I don't have the right to say, "Oh, the world's not fair."
Uh-huh.
Though sometimes I do have that. For example, with my hands, that with the tennis elbow and everything, like, oh,
Uh-huh.
why me? Like, so and so play so much more and so many other stressful games, but they are completely fine. Like, why me? Like sometimes I do get into that, but
Uh-huh.
usually it doesn't last very long.
Uh-huh.
Like, I've sort of accepted it at this point that it's just part of reality, or my reality, I guess. So
Mm. Mm.
I shouldn't have to stress about it any more than I have already.
I see. I see. I mean, like, I mean, it sounds to me like you were quite aware of,
Yeah,
your
completely aware.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah. But there are certain, you know, uh, and I don't mean this in any disparaging way, but certain levels of maturity that you're still struggling with,
hmm,
right? And
yeah,
you're
absolutely.
you're quite aware of that lack of maturity, and that's also something that just kind of leads to, well, you said the meme, right? The meme of you go insane because of your own understanding of
Yeah, you
your
you
lack of.
understand everything, but you can't get out of it. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
that weird paradox.
yeah. I get that. I get that.
Like,
I
and in terms of maturity, it's not even an argument, because when I
mhm.
imagine other people my age, I don't know, they're starting or have already started a family, and I'm just like, I don't see myself doing that at all. Like, I just
Mhm.
don't see myself mature enough for that sort of thing.
Mm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, so like I said, the reason why I'm saying that perhaps you need to stimulate yourself by entering some sort of setting or creating some sort of setting where it's challenging is because, you're smart enough to reason your way out of it. You'll probably be like, well, this isn't the most optimal thing because XYZ, XYZ. I
Yeah,
think without
I
without
always
really
do that.
thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it, yeah,
absolutely.
without really thinking about it, try just kind of getting involved in something or doing something like dramatically different in your life, you know, to find, what Japanese people would call ikigai, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I actually have a book called, I think my mom bought it or someone else gifted it. It's Ikigai.
okay,
That's
uh-huh.
pretty hilarious. I should read it. Yeah, I should read that.
I mean, I don't think. I'll be honest. I don't think reading it will convince you of anything.
Well,
It
yeah,
may give
obviously.
you the right.
Like
It might give you
the
the right
same
frame of
way.
mind.
Yeah, the same way I've watched I don't know, probably all of Jordan Peterson's lectures, but that still like didn't change my mind. I became more aware, but that doesn't
Mm,
necessarily change my mind if I'm more aware.
mm, mm.
Like, yeah,
I
taking
see.
on responsibility, everything else. And it's like, I mean, okay, I get that, but at the same time, that doesn't really help me much.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I would say though, uh, and this was probably a bad case of uh, going into a environment that is way too challenging, and so I just regressed back to past me. But
Uh-huh.
the first year after high school, I went to the Netherlands to study computer
Uh-huh.
science,
Uh-huh.
and now there that was a complete 180 for in terms of difficulty with education and everything.
Uh-huh.
So I remember just first day of math class, the guy is just writing out some stuff on the board, and I just see x squared equals 2x, and I'm like, wait, what the hell did? How? What did you just do? And he's like,
Uh-huh.
Duritus, haven't you studied this high school? I'm like, no, I haven't. What is this? And so basically, I'm starting with if everyone's starting from 0, I'm starting from like -10 because the level was so bad here in Bulgaria that I'm like so far behind. I had to catch up with everything and at the same time completely learn as a complete beginner, like coding uh, algorithms, like how computers work logically, hardware, everything. Like it was such a mess, but at the same time, for the first few months before I completely burned out, it was actually quite fun. Like
Uh-huh.
it was actually stimulating. Like, oh, this is cool. Like, sure, I get dumped like a 200-page document with 50 other different things I have to do in 1 week, and I have
Uh-huh.
a few more classes that do the same. But hey, that was fun for at least for as long as it lasted. And then I burned out. I assume I burned out. I'm not sure actually. But after I
Mm.
burned out, I went back to sitting in my room all day on my laptop and just watching YouTube videos all day. I remember opening like the search tab or the history tab in the browser at like February or March, and when I searched YouTube, there were like a few thousand results. So I'd
Uh-huh.
watched that much content post
Mm.
burnout.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that was sort of it was a challenging, stimulating environment, but maybe it was a bit too much to begin with.
Mm.
You know, after uh, one of the final things was like waking up at like I started waking up at 5 a.m. because I just didn't have enough time in the day. Like you'd wake up,
Mm-hmm.
make food for lunch, go there, sit until like 6 p.m. Like from
Mm-hmm.
8 to 6 every day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, go back or maybe do some shopping, eat dinner, and wow, you have 2 hours free time, and you have to go to bed, but you have to study extra things for another, I don't know, 12 hours before the next day starts, but you don't have 12 hours, you have two. So in that point, I was waking up at 5 a.m., studying like, I don't know, 10 hours a day, just
Mm-hmm.
math, because we had a break. And then I got the lowest passing mark for the math test, and that felt horrible. And, you know, while everyone else was like, hey, it's a pass, like, you I had a few stacks of like papers I'd written preparing for this, and the test had nothing to do with what we studied as always. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, you passed. But to me, it's like, no, I didn't pass. That's horrible. Like that's the lowest grade. I don't care. I think that was probably the final straw. So after that, I just said, fuck it, whatever. This none of this matters. Lectures are boring. I don't learn anything. Why should I go? And yeah, it just spiraled out of control.
Mm. Well, here's the thing. You know, um, putting yourself in a stimulating environment is challenging because for somebody like you, I think it has to be challenging. But then you have to have the resilience and the ability to kind of take that challenge and then be able to survive it and then get some sense of personal fulfillment out of that, right? I mean, theoretically, you probably know all this. Um,
Yeah, in
You know,
theory.
the way that people, I guess, build up that resilience, I think is quite different. Uh, you know, for certain people, they just kind of keep trying and trying, and eventually they build up that kind of resilience. You know, for others, it's much different. You know, they might have a support team. You know, like friends or somebody they look up to, like a mentor. You know, for other people, it's actually stuff like religion and faith that actually gives them the sense of resilience that they need to be able to overcome things. Um, like I'm wondering if you can think of some like source of resilience that you can tap into when you're going into like situations of challenge. Or would you say that's way too
Mm,
hard to figure out?
I don't know. Nothing comes to mind off the top of my head. Like
Mm.
there's always that, like, after you watch some, I don't know, poorly edited motivational video, and you're like, yeah, now I'm motivated, and then it lasts for like 1 week, and then it's all back to normal. That's the best I can do, probably.
Okay.
Like, I was honestly, that was what was keeping me going in the Netherlands. Like,
Mm.
Jordan Peterson lectures, Jordan Peterson Wave. Like, there's a lo-fi chill hop artist that makes remixes of his lectures into lo-fi hip hop. Just listening to that to the ride to school, or like motivational lectures from others. Like, I would listen to those just like to not forget.
Uh-huh.
There's like a purpose to this, or like a reason, or you should keep going. But I don't. That's like, how can I? What analogy can I say? Mm, like, it's not an efficient source, because eventually it loses its effect and you become resistant to it. So, like everything else, the more short-term dopamine you get, the more dopamine you need to get the same reaction. So I guess that same sort of stimulation resistance is what happened. So at one point they just, even if I watched them, like, nothing resonated anymore. I
I
was
see.
burned out from them.
I mean, they're temporary sources of motivation is essentially what you're saying, right?
Yeah, temporary. Yeah, temporary.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of interesting, and this probably doesn't make a lot of logical sense to you at all, but um, you know, people pursue things like religion or spirituality because they realize through logic or through experience that there's actually an innate limitation to um, getting that kind of motivation from, for the lack of a better word, earthly things. So, you know, I don't know if you have ever seriously thought about stuff like that. And I mean this in a completely serious way because um, I'm of an opinion that spirituality and religion does have a role to play in society, and it actually is a net good for the world. I mean, would you
Yeah.
agree with that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not religious myself, but I don't, uh is the word denounce religion.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
like, neither side can be proven, so I'm just in the middle ground, like, sort of like whichever one gets proven first, if that ever happens in human history. Probably won't. But
Hmm.
I do know that, because there's just, I mean, even if just thinking from the top of my head, like the vastness of the universe and everything else, like, there's so much unknown, and your brain just can't comprehend it. So religion is like putting a limiter and
Hmm.
falling back to something you recognize and know. So you have like a ground to step on, because you have to create something that
Hmm.
you can fall back to and
Hmm.
believe it's there. Otherwise, you're just falling forever. So I think that's like sort of the effect religion can have. Like
Hmm.
you believe, you have a certain set of beliefs that you can always come back to and base your decisions and life around them, and it works out for you because you have to set up a base to start from. Like even if it might be fundamentally flawed. I'm not saying religion is, but if in the case it is fundamentally flawed, if it keeps you going, then why not? You know, that's
Hmm.
I still see it a bit logically. Like it's there to have something known that you can fall back to because everything else is unknown, or like the fear of the unknown sort of way.
Well, I think that's one way of thinking about religion, and I'm bringing this up because I think that how can I put this? I think what you're trying to find is psychologically quite intensive. It's something that is a complicated situation. It's a complicated problem to solve. Your lack of motivation and your lack of ability and resilience to be able to face um, a lack of motivation or skill or ambition, right? Maybe ambition is a better word than motivation. And I personally think that you have probably thought through many different things to try to do in order to face that ambition. And because you've tried it, but haven't really been able to be successful, you're getting quite jaded. Would you say that's true?
Mm, it's hard to know, but I would say it's true because if it wasn't true, I would have gotten out of the situation by now. So it's sort of like drawing false conclusions and falling down into my own loophole, which I keep myself stuck in by drawing more false conclusions. That's in my eyes, that's probably what's happening right now. Like that's the most logical explanation I can get. Like why else do I not have any ambition for anything? Like there must be some innate reason that years of living this way has created that just prevents me from feeling ambition towards stuff.
Hmm. I mean,
Like
so
yeah, it's
so.
always been
Mhm.
weird to me where people, you sometimes come across these like, I thought about it for a few days or I thought about it for a few weeks, and suddenly they have a revelation and suddenly they're a changed person, and I'm just like, how does that even work? Like I'm sitting here thinking, but nothing's like snapping, nothing, there's no switch to hit. Like, it's just empty thoughts.
Mm.
So that
Well,
sort of aspects, like what am I missing
mhm,
in this
mhm,
whole thing?
mhm. Well, I'll tell you what. One thing you have to never, you know, uh, I think nihilism is kind of dumb, and because the reason why I think and this relates. The reason why I think nihilism is kind of dumb is because it means you've given up on trying to think. You've decided to become a monkey essentially. And if you try to become a monkey, you're just running away from responsibility. You're just immature. So that's why I think nihilism is dumb. And this relates because um, I don't think you should ever stop. I don't think you should ever stop acknowledging that there are people who, for the lack of a better term, somehow change their life for the better or find some innate ambition, even though it seems cliche. And people like honestly say that, and I don't think you should ever forget that it's not like they're saying it because they've been paid to say so. They genuinely believe it. It's the same thing for religion. People are some people in the world are strongly religious, strongly spiritual, even though it's not a logical thing. And as an observer, you may be like, this person is insane. But the thing is, for the person thinking it, maybe Jordan Peterson said something like this, but like for the person thinking it, it creates an extremely effective perspective for the world, and even has like practical, real life applications, like building up resilience, right? So my point with all this is, I don't think you should ever stop trying to comprehend why that is and what really drives people to do so. Because I think the more you think about it, the more you might get closer to unlocking some sort of like resolve within yourself about all these kind of things. And honestly speaking, like, just watching, you know, YouTube videos all day or something like that is in a way just numbing your mind from thinking about those kind of things, right? Like, it's to get your
Yeah,
mind
I
off
think so.
of, yeah, it's to get your
Of thinking,
mind off
yeah.
of considering all these kind of hard philosophical questions. And the whole point about me saying you should, maybe enter a more stimulating environment is not for the sake of going through challenge and making yourself miserable, but rather it's for the sake of making sure that you are not just numbing yourself, but rather thinking about these questions in a very, very serious way. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does.
Okay.
Like from if we put that as a something I'm avoiding subconsciously, let's say,
Uh-huh.
then everything I'm doing makes sense, because it's always, oh, I have to do this or I have to do that because or I have to do something, be it because I have to be productive,
Uh-huh.
I have to be good at this. Like it's always
Uh-huh.
something like that, which
Uh-huh.
doesn't necessarily come from ambition, but more so like I just have to do it, even though it doesn't
Uh-huh.
make any sense. Like
Uh-huh.
I have to play a game right now because I'm bored, or I have to watch this video right now,
Uh-huh.
or I have to. I mean, I still exercise, but I have to exercise because otherwise, it's not healthy.
It's so
If
interesting though, that
the
that
simple,
frame of thinking. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
that's
No,
that's
just
that's
keep
just
going.
how I do it. Yeah, that's how I do it,
Uh-huh.
and how I've always done it. And for some things, it works.
Uh-huh.
Uh, like I tried out a frame of mind of, well, I'm not doing anything all day anyway, so why
Uh-huh.
don't I just exercise for 1 hour? And sure, that worked for a few weeks, but that was,
Uh-huh.
I don't think that's a very good frame of mind to have. Like,
Mm.
oh, I don't have anything to do. Like, it's sort of a devaluing,
Uh-huh.
even if I'm doing something, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And for
Yeah.
just to comment on the nihilism thing, I probably would have considered myself nihilistic in the past, but the answer to nihilism is very simple, at least to me now. If nothing matters, then why not just put in the most effort to make your life, the most fun? If nothing
Uh-huh.
matters, why not just have fun with it? So
Uh-huh.
I don't think I'm nihilistic in that sense, but at the same time, I apparently am not able to make my life fun for some reason. But just to
Hmm.
comment on that.
Hmm. I mean, I think you're intelligent enough to realize that certain things that you are doing are fake, in a way, and the fact that you are aware of that is what pains you, right? That's existential crisis in a nutshell. And the things that you do, temporary happiness, are essentially ways that you're numbing yourself to stop thinking about that. And honestly speaking, I haven't, or I don't listen to Jordan Peterson that much, but I think from what I know of him, he would also agree that that's just escapism, right? And I'm essentially saying that if he says something like, you shouldn't do those kind of things, then I would agree with him. I think that you need to get yourself no matter what, no matter how uncomfortable you feel about it, you need to get yourself to keep um, considering how you are going to be uncomfortable in facing those kind of issues, because everybody thinks about those kind of things and everybody comes to some sort of conclusion about them earlier than or later. And honestly speaking, people who are of lower intelligence will probably not think about this until much later in their
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
And that's
So that's
fine.
why they hit like mid 40s existential crisis.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like a
sure.
late bloomer sort of thing
Yeah.
for them.
Does that mean they are? Does that mean that they don't deal with this? No, it doesn't. Actually, I think that everybody deals with this. So you're just dealing with it earlier. There's nothing wrong with you. I think that it's part of. Well, those chickens are loud. It's part of just growing up. Um, I'm just saying, like, I don't really have much to say, honestly, other than, as you're considering this uh, existential crisis, you need to keep in mind that you can't just escape from it, right?
I guess part of me is like, it's been going on for so many years that is there even uh, a self-realization at some point that this is, and to put an end to this, like to stop thinking about this way, or like make a perspective that prevents me from falling into escapism,
I
because
mean,
it's
that's
been
a. Mhm.
7-8 years, I guess. And
I mean, that's a very good point. That's a really
at
good
least
point.
logically, my dad's like, or at least my mom's like, I was the same back when I was your age, but the big difference is when she was my age currently, she was already married, so
Hmm.
she clearly grew out of it.
Hmm.
Uh, Weirdly enough, uh, I, I'm not trash talking my mom, by the way, but she has a lot of the negative qualities I have. She has them as well. So a lack of ambition and everything else. Like, she has the qualities or the qualifications to, I don't know, for example, get a very high paying job, but she worked at the shittiest place possible because, I don't know, she felt like it. Like, oh, why should I go make
Hmm.
much more money? Like,
Uh
she
huh.
lacks that sort of ambition. But, anyways, she thinks, like, oh, that's normal. You go through it. My dad's the opposite way because, come on, it's been 8 years. I would have grown out of it already. I sort of agree, not sort of, maybe a lot of agree. And I don't think, like, as you said, I'm already aware, like, what the issue is. I just don't
Hmm.
know how to get out of it.
I mean,
So
I
even
mean,
though I've been
uh
to a
huh.
psychiatrist and everything, like, we've talked about these sort of things,
Uh huh.
like, I'm aware
Hmm.
it doesn't help. I could
Hmm.
try, I don't know, I could try antidepressants, but I don't know how that's gonna work. But no harm in trying. But
Hmm.
if it's a radical change I need, then I mean, I can imagine myself like, because my computer basically has been running 24/7 for not just this computer physically, but all the computers 24/7 for the past years, for my entire life, I guess. So I can imagine myself, if I turn this thing off, I'm just gonna go crazy. Like, I can see myself doing that. I'm just gonna start walking around the house first. I'm gonna start making random, I don't know, dancing movements, search for something to eat, just
Uh huh.
continue walking around, doing some random shit, like, because I'm trying to, I don't know, subconsciously do something
Uh
that
huh.
doesn't involve sitting in one place and getting flooded with whatever it is I'm afraid of being flooded with, because
Uh huh.
apparently it's so bad that I'm avoiding it 24/7.
Uh huh. Uh, I mean, I think that.
I think that's probably the best thing I can try. Like, just turn off my computer. which is
Well,
a bit of
you
an
you could try that.
unnerving thought. That's an
Yeah,
unnerving thought, to be honest.
it's going to be unnerving, but maybe you can try that. Uh, I do think that if you're going to mm, take that leap and try out something a little bit crazy to do that stimulation that I was talking about, um, no matter how rationally you think, oh, I don't need this or this isn't necessary, I do think you need some sort of people, like actual people, not me, not people you know on the internet, but actual people who will be able to understand what you're going through. Understand may just mean acknowledge, right? So maybe it's just your mom or something, but like understand what you're going through and be able to to at least just monitor you at the very least. If you're comfortable to be able to actually do more than just monitor you, but to be able to like support you. Human beings are social creatures, and I think that we are also human beings are also very much different than most animals. You know, some scientists will say, "Oh yeah, yeah, human beings aren't that much different from orangutans or whatever." No, no, I think that we are. I think that we're very different than any other animal. And part of it is that we are extremely social creatures. No matter what we say, no matter if we say, oh, I don't like people. No, I think people are always social. So if you're gonna try to prevent going crazy and you're concerned about going crazy, then I think you need to actually have a pretty serious talk with like any close friends that you have, your parents or something like that to have a base level support.
Well, to comment on the first one, I don't have any close friends or friends at all, actually. The only two
Hmm.
people I know outside of my room are the two friends I mentioned from high school, but they're the same as me, and we're just sitting at home all day. So that's one thing. And
Uh huh.
although on the rare occasion we do go outside, which is like once in a blue moon, it's still enjoyable to hang out. But I haven't really had this sort of discussion with anyone I know,
Uh huh.
or at least with those. I mean, let's be honest; those are the two only people I know. No, like friends know. But I haven't had that talk with them. I seem to always gravitate to talk with people online about this instead of, I guess, because I don't have anyone around me. I have had this with talk with my parents, but it doesn't seem to result into anything. Like
Uh huh.
it's just whatever the next day, like reset, have
Uh
the
huh.
talk, go to bed, reset, nothing changes,
Uh huh.
that sort of thing.
Mm. I mean, there is no anime like amazing sudden change that's going to happen in your life. That's one thing to be aware of with anything. Um, Maybe like the only thing where it would do that is like actual events, like marriage, for example. But like other than that, there is not going to be any crazy change. But still, having your parents to acknowledge things or to at least even be like, "Hey, I'm thinking about this," right? I think is really necessary. Um, if you don't have any friends, I'll just be honest. I think you need friends, and it doesn't matter how you feel about other people. Um, like I said, people are social creatures, and if you are sick and tired of your current lifestyle, you need to change it. And I guess one other uncomfortable thing I would encourage you to do is like try to have social relations with people and see who you find because um and again this is also very cliche, but like something like finding a significant other might actually be what you need, right? Some people find a way out that way because a significant other becomes your best friend, right?
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
And you might be completely, uncomfortable with this idea completely. But what I'm telling you to do is try to do the uncomfortable and try to change some things in your life if you're that sick of it.
Well, in terms of people, when we're still going to university,
Hmm.
uh, with all my, I get along with all my classmates. Like, I don't have any issues with anyone here in university, at least. Like, they're cool. That
Hmm.
sense of immaturity from high school is gone.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, they're cool to hang around with, but I wouldn't go out with them, or if they go, I don't know, drinking somewhere or some
Uh-huh.
disco or whatever, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna pass. Like, I don't like such things. I find them very
Right.
boring and like
Well,
unappealing.
sure. I mean, there's other things in there's other social events than like going to a party, you know. There's groups you can get involved in. There's perhaps clubs, not like clubbing, but like actual interest based clubs. There's your university and whatever kind of social things that might exist in that university. Um,
I
you
don't
know,
think we have clubs in university.
oh really? You don't?
Yeah, I think it's a more westernish concept, or our
Mm,
university is just that shitty. But I don't. Nothing off the top of my head comes to when I hear clubs. It's just the regular old like classes.
I see.
But yeah, to me, I hang. While I'm there, we hang around. But to me, it's just like a fleeting friendship sort of thing. Like, I'm gonna have a fun time here with these people, but when I leave university, I'm never gonna talk to them again. That sort of thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, I mean, it happened the same thing in the Netherlands. Like, everyone there was great. Like, I actually got to meet people that were of a higher intelligence, and I could have like these sort of discussions with them. It was pretty fun.
Uh-huh.
But then again, it was a fleeting thing. Like, there's like, after I came back here, like, none of us kept contact anymore. Even like the
Hmm.
group chats just sort of died down.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean,
I'm always
it's.
I don't know. I'm of the philosophy that uh, true friendships sort of happen by coincidence.
Hmm.
Like, sort of how if my dad hadn't transferred me to another class in 8th grade, I wouldn't know these two people I know today, and
Right.
who are like my only, I would say, are real life friends.
Uh-huh.
And same way, like, a few years ago, I just, not even a few, was it 2013 even? I was just in a random
Hmm.
Twitch stream of someone playing Osu, and I just started chatting in Twitch chat with a random guy, and now we're like best friends. Like, probably, yeah, the closest person I probably have in my life, even though
Hmm.
we've never met personally, and we still talk even to today, and that's like sort of crazy because what if I hadn't, went to that stream that day and hadn't typed in that chat that day? It's like it just sort of happened, and I sort of
Yeah, sure.
got that impression that, oh, actual real friendships happen by chance. You don't go out looking for them.
No,
So
but
that's
you're
probably
not
not.
going out looking. I mean,
Yeah, I'm looking for
here's the
the
thing.
environment if I
Yeah,
go
yeah,
out.
exactly,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
pretty. It's not a. It's a flawed logic I have. Yeah, I know.
I mean, you you have to look for that environment, right? You
Yeah,
have
the
to
right
actually
environment.
go out and actually try to do that, right? Unless you create an opportunity to coincidentally meet somebody that you end up jiving with, it's never going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And like you can't just honestly speaking, you can't just keep doing it for online people. Like, online friends are fine, like that's fine, but like you also have to be able to have people that are in real life and be able to talk to them and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Some people might disagree, but I sort of think that's true. And and maybe you also need to just kind of go out and into a situation where you're completely new at everything. Like, instead of being in a situation where you're the best, you know everything that needs to be done and you're comfortable being able to tackle it as a job. Maybe you have to interact with other people to learn from them, right? Because you're completely unknown to uh, what that situation requires, or something like that. Maybe you need some sort of situation like that in your life.
Oh, I have gone to. I think it was it last summer? Probably the year before. Yeah, definitely not last summer. 2 years ago, maybe three.
Hmm.
I went to work as a sushi chef,
Hmm.
so it was something I had never done, and I had to start from the ground up. But here's the thing: I'm also my mindset's skewed because everything I've ever tried, I know I can get good at it, and I improve significantly faster than everyone around me. And it's always like it doesn't matter what I choose. I have to choose something, and I'll just be good at it because it's always been this case. So it's I don't know if that uh, prevents me from actually going out and picking something, but could be a factor. But anyway, I went there, um, starting from the ground up with everything else,
Hmm.
and there was some nervousness, some panic. Like apparently, the boss there, or like the main person who works there and oversees us, loves doing this to all the newbies, where you're in charge of the whole station from the
Hmm.
morning until the end of your shift, and you're just like, you've been there for a week or two, you barely know what's going on, and now you have
Hmm.
to do all the prep, do all the recipes and the sauces and whatever the hell. And it's like 100 things you have to memorize, and you have to make those. You have to serve clients who come here. You have to prepare and arrange stuff for takeout. And it's like it was such a mess, and I was just in complete shambles. I was falling apart. It was pretty hilarious now that I think back of it.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but I guess it was pretty effective to also like show you, hey, this is what it is. Like it was probably like taking away my training wheels for the day
Hmm.
and showing you what it's like. And he said like a lot of people who've had that done to them have quit because
Hmm.
it's just too much at once. But
Hmm.
if you keep going, like you get used to it eventually. And after a few months, yeah, I was at this point pretty comfortable.
Hmm.
And even though like it was, I mean, a typical restaurant thing, 6 days work of the from 7 in the week, sometimes even 7 days, and you go like 2 weeks without break, or
Hmm.
you have 12-hour plus shifts and everything else. And I was just like fine, because I don't have anything else to do anyway, sort of mindset, so why not? And it would just be wake up, have a coffee, go to work, come back, have dinner at like midnight, go to bed, repeat, and that was pretty much it. And honestly, if because of course it's a restaurant, so my colleagues weren't that let's say of a philosophical nature.
Hmm.
They're less intelligent.
Sure. Sure.
So the environment, that part wasn't comfortable for me. Like typical
Mm.
childish, immature, like humor, jokes, or attitude, and that was probably if that wasn't there, I probably would have loved it a lot more. Because I was
Mm,
treading between like I love this a few days, some days, and then to the next few days I can't stand this. Like get me out of here, sort of thing.
mm, I
And
see.
it was going between those two. But it was still like a new experience. But eventually, it was kind of the same thing. Like, oh, I know how to do this now at a sort of
Hmm.
decent level after a few months, and now it's monotone again. Mm, maybe not just that, but
I mean,
it,
would
it's it's
you?
it's the only example I can think of going out of my, you know,
Mhm.
going to work. I guess like doing something different.
Mm. Would you try that again
Probably
if you?
not.
Hmm.
It actually it depends. Um, I did think about it. Like, if I want the environment to be more tolerable with
Uh huh.
better people around me, it would have to be a
Uh
high
huh.
class restaurant, for example.
Okay.
Like something of a higher class where you need more than just
Uh huh.
uh I guess muscle memory to succeed in.
Uh huh.
So if I had to try something like that again, it would probably have to be of an okay, the conclusion that I drew, I don't want to be in a low class environment where
Hmm.
I hate being around the people I am. So
Hmm.
I would have to go for something where I know at least that there will be some uh, amount of intelligence around me. So in this
Hmm.
aspect, going for IT is good because generally, smarter people work in this sphere. So as stereotypical as that is, but
Hmm.
and I also got to learn that hey, working 12-hour shifts and 6 days of the week is not fun. So I would not want to do that again. And that's probably the two things I learned. So better environment. So we go back to the uh, not being the best in the environment, or not necessarily the best, just making the environment enjoyable to be in, and not something that you're gonna hate doing or you can't do for the rest of your life. Because I don't imagine someone enjoying working 6 or 7 days a week for, I don't know, 20, 30 years. That doesn't sound very fun.
I mean, some people will do it if that's what they're really passionate about, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
it depends. Like for someone who doesn't have an ambition in the sphere, I wouldn't do it. I would understand if someone was like, "This is the best job ever." Like I guess
mhm,
some medical students are like this.
mhm,
Like it's working around the clock, 24/7, stress all along, but they say that's the best thing they've done in their life and they enjoy
mhm.
it. Yep, that's fine. But for someone who doesn't necessarily have the passion for it, I think it's a lot harder to stick in a field like that because,
Sure, sure.
well, you don't have a source of resilience, as you put it a few
Uh huh.
minutes ago.
Mm, mm. Hmm. I think you. I mean, I get. I mean, have you ever thought about living somewhere else, for example?
Um, like in general or like right now?
Yeah, like in general. Like,
Like
do you
5 years
want
in the
to?
future, sort of thing.
Yeah, like, do you want to aim to live somewhere else and get out of that your current environment?
Mm, I'm not sure.
Might be something to consider too.
Like I've thought about it, but my initial reaction is the reason it's great being here is because technically it's, I don't know, everything is very chill, for lack of a better word, in terms
Well,
of
but
like
that. Uh-huh.
like laws and everything else. So if you get a
Uh-huh.
good job that pays well for
Uh-huh.
how much things cost here, you're pretty much set
Uh-huh.
for life. So like if you get
Yeah, but
a
uh-huh.
normal IT job, you can live, I don't know, build a house somewhere here and live comfortably for the rest of your life. And
Sure,
that's
but
completely fine.
uh-huh.
Like if your life is only going to be wake up at home, go to work, go back home, sort of thing, then
Hmm.
that's ideal. Otherwise, I mean, obviously, my next choice would be Japan. But the problem with Japan is if uh, you don't want to work 16 hours a day, it's kind of hard. Like, unless you work online for a company overseas or have your own business or freelance or whatever,
Hmm.
I've read that it's not very hospitable in that sense. And other places I have no desire to go. Like the West is in my head just a joke uh, from all the stereotypes that float around the internet and from seeing what people say about it. It's like it doesn't seem like a pleasant environment. It will be like here, but with worse individuals. So
Hmm.
it would be like a downgrade, even though in terms of living standards, no, even living standards. I don't know actually. Now that I think about it, because here at least you have uh, you have good food. Nothing's like factory processed or whatever.
Hmm.
Because like I went to the Netherlands and everything's like the same. All the meat is bland. Everything's like yuck. Here you have at least like local farms and everything. It's like the norm.
Hmm.
So I would even say it's a higher standard of living here than in the West. So in that sense, it's a lot more appealing than in the West.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's shifting between here and Japan, but more to here because Japan has. I mean, if we take away the, as you said, escapism mentality and say, yeah, there's always going to be stress and there's always going to be like daily issues, then
Uh-huh.
working so much is just a given of life. So
Uh-huh.
might as well go work in Japan, that sort of thing. But I'm not sure. I'd have to. I think I'd have to experience it first to make a conclusion on it.
I mean, honestly speaking, I think that your perception of, for example, the West or what places you would be good at living in are based on a really biased opinion. Like,
Yeah,
um, I live in the U.S. and there's a lot that can be done in the U.S. that should be done, and there's a lot that needs to change, and a lot that I'm unhappy about. But I wouldn't live anywhere else. And the reason why I can say that so confidently is because I I grew up here and was exposed to certain things that I think are really great about um, the U.S. So I honestly think that I was able to have a lot of amazing opportunities here in the U.S. that I wouldn't have been able to have. Let's say if I was born in not born, but if I was raised up, past when I was 7 in Japan, um, and that what I just said might go completely against what some, for the lack of a better term, American haters would say. Um, and I'm saying that pretty confidently too. Like I honestly do believe that. Um, so so
well, there could
I think
also,
uh-huh.
well, not could, there's always going to be a sense of bias towards the country you were raised in, unless you were raised in, I don't know, something terrible. But I guess everyone would prefer the place they were raised in first over everything else. Because, for example,
I
for me,
mean,
from an
uh-huh,
outsider's perspective, America doesn't seem like a great place to live. Like, my perspective is, I break a leg, I'm gonna have to pay off debts my whole life. Or I go to university, I'm gonna have to pay debts my whole life. Or I go out
uh-huh,
shopping, I'm gonna get shot or mugged. Like that as extreme as my perception is, that's how I see America as a whole. And
I
again,
mean,
even though that's not true, but just the daily stereotypes you encounter about it uh,
uh-huh,
help build like this false perception of it.
uh-huh.
But
If
I
you know
know
it,
at least
uh-huh,
here, like if I break a leg, I can pay
uh-huh,
it and not be in debt at all. Or
uh-huh.
I know I'm not gonna get shot when, you know, wherever I go, sort of thing.
So, so
Like,
here's the thing. You're saying that you understand their stereotypes and stuff, and yet you
yeah,
use those
absolutely.
stereotypes as a basis for reasoning.
I mean,
And I
yeah, I've
just,
never, of course, there's nothing
I
else I
mean,
can use yet because I've never been there. So the only
I
thing
mean,
I
so
can
so here's the
base it
thing.
on is
Here's the thing.
stereotypes.
Here's the thing. Okay, I can immediately refute what you just said. I have a friend who broke his leg, went to the hospital, had to be hospitalized. He paid off everything. I myself have debts from university. I was smart enough to get a scholarship and smart enough to save money. About to pay off all of my debts, even while I work a minimum wage job, in probably about 5 years. 5 years is nothing, right? Like I can easily refute whatever you're saying, and the fact that you even say that it's a stereotype, and yet you use that stereotype as a reasoning for your decisions, I think is a little bit, you know, it's a little bit unfair. You have to kind of broaden a little bit about what perspective you're holding right now if you really sincerely want to change, you know, what you're trying to do. And honestly, you're intelligent. You're gonna be well off. You're probably not gonna go into that. You're probably not gonna get shot. Because another thing that's true in life is that a lot of people are dumb.
Yeah,
And the
the
things that
majority.
people, yeah, the things that create stereotypes are probably the dumb people. If you're confident that you're not dumb,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am
yeah.
quite
But
confident that you can probably live anywhere.
the problem is if uh, completely fabricating this, if 80% of the population is dumb, could be true, could be false. If they're the ones making this stereotype, then is it really a stereotype if 80% are acting that way, you know? Because a stereotype is the opposite. Like, it's a false belief where a few act this way and the rest are normal. But here it'd be everyone acts this way, and then there's these few people who don't.
I mean,
Though I do
uh,
agree, like, even the thing about Japan, I mean, I'm basing everything on stereotypes. Like, oh, you're gonna work 16 hours a day. Like, have fun. But
uh-huh.
uh, it is a judgment based on currently known information.
Sure.
Like, there's no
Stereotypes
other
are
way
not
I can
always
know.
false.
Yeah, but there's no other conclusion I can draw without
Uh-huh.
actually being there. Like, I have to physically go there and I have to live there, I don't know, a year, two, three, and then I can say confidently, hey, this is true, hey, this is false. But until I do that, there's no way to uh, make a objective conclusion based on subjective experience. So
Then
I have
then
no
go
other
ahead and do
choice.
that. Then go ahead and do that, you dummy. I mean, like, I can't really say anything else. That's what I'm telling you to do. If you are self-aware of the limitations in your life, and if you know that you want to change it, then if you just sit there and think about changing it, nothing will happen, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it. Don't think so hard. Go ahead and do it. Try your best. Don't give up. Have some support. And then, once you've honestly tried, with full conviction, and then you haven't been able to do it, and it hasn't worked out, then you can go be a doomer all you want. like that's honestly perhaps the only thing that I can say at the end, because you know you're quite rational and you're smart, and I understand that, but the thing about intelligence is that it doesn't equate or correlate to maturity, and right now I do sense that there are certain ways of thinking that you have that you're just kind of making excuses, honestly.
Yeah.
And if you just keep on doing that, be you're going to just constantly be at crisis with yourself. You're not going to be able to move forward, and it's just going to be a downward world spiral, and you know that. I know you know that. So that's what I'm telling you. Just go ahead and do stuff.
Where
You, you
where should
get
I
you get
start
what I
from?
mean?
Yeah, what should I do? What
May,
should I
may,
do?
okay. I mean, so I mean, start from something that you're passion. Start from something that you at least have an interest in. Then, right? If you want to try living in Japan, like seriously try doing it. If you like, for example, your Japanese is quite good. If you want to try to pursue like actual work in Japan based on your Japanese knowledge, you are in a better position than most people in the world to do that. Probably most people in Bulgaria, right?
Probably, but to myself, and we go back to the whole excuses thing. I don't think I know enough because every time there's a, I don't know, I read a sentence and it's like, well, I can't read all the words, therefore I'm not qualified, to work
Okay.
there because,
Well,
oh shit,
if
well,
you
there's a bunch of shit I can't read.
okay,
And
well,
there we go back to
again,
this.
okay, I think you're bullshitting yourself. So if you
Yeah,
say that
probably.
you don't know enough, if you say you don't know enough, but you also say, "Oh, well, if I put enough time, I can learn it," then do it, right? You're in the best situation. You yourself are apparently aware of the fact that you can do stuff. Then go ahead and do it. Go out into the world. Go into some situation where it's a little bit uncomfortable. Use your skills to get through it and see what happens. Right? Is that strange to ask? Is
It
that
is, yeah.
unreasonable?
It's strange. It's not unreasonable, but it's strange.
A lot of people do that in the world, and that's how they end up being able to get through some rut in their life. It might not sound rational, but that's what happens. Um,
Yeah,
Human beings are not
to me it's
completely rational
irrational
creatures.
because to me I wouldn't be qualified to do something if I'm not 100% sure, like, hey, I have everything necessary to do this. So if I don't, I wouldn't do it. So if I mean, even now, like, I've been fluent in English for a long time. I have a
Hmm.
C2 level certificate that I got through sleeping during my uh, certificate preparation classes and just moping around like the depressed teenager I was.
Uh
And
huh.
I just got it. I was signed up for a C1, but I got a C2, and I still think I don't have the necessary English qualifications to work in a company that has or requires English because, oh look, there's so many words that sometimes I hear and I don't understand, or sometimes I read and I just can't understand. And I'm like, okay, I'm not qualified. That was fun. So with Japanese, it's like, oh, it's even worse because there's a
I
lot
mean,
more I
so
can't read.
so you're just trying to. I mean, at this
Yeah,
point,
it's an unwinnable game with myself because
you're just.
there's
That's why
no
you had
such
to.
thing. Yeah, there's
Uh
no
huh.
such thing as being 100% good at something or certain or perfect, or like, it's not it's an unobtainable goal I've set for myself that I can use as an excuse that I like, oh, I have to reach this goal first, then I'll go do this thing. But the goal is unreachable, so you're never gonna go do the thing. So it's this weird loop. Like, at least it feels like it. So I never
I
do
mean,
anything in
you
that
have
aspect.
to you have to break off from that yourself somehow, right? You have to break off from that kind of loop by yourself, and I can't really help you do that. If you need help from somebody, you're gonna have to talk to a psychologist or something like that, you know. Um, so maybe that's a one actionable, very practical thing you can do, which is try a psychologist again. Not every psychologist is going to be good, and not every psychologist is going to work. So you have to try a couple. Maybe you want to try that. I don't know.
Or I could just do shit regardless of how good I am.
but then, but but then why don't you just go do it, right? You can't
Yeah,
just go do it. That's why I'm telling you, go find a psychologist and figure it out with them.
I gotta be a speed subber in real life.
Yeah, that's what. No, well, okay, no, that's not what I'm saying. Like,
No, like go do regardless of how good I am, and then improve it with the process, like that sort of thing.
that's not a speed subber.
Oh
That's
yeah,
just
they
a
don't
regular
improve.
person.
But okay.
Yeah, speed subbers don't improve because that's not their motivation. That's the whole problem with speed subbers. But what you're telling me is that you know very well that you have skill sets to do so. For some reason, you say that, but somehow you lack the confidence to be able to pursue that in reality, right? Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, I don't think I have
Okay,
any confidence in anything I do or can do.
okay. So then that means that in order to build your confidence and your framework to your in order to build that framework to build that confidence, you need to talk to somebody who's actually good at figuring this out. Like I'm not certified to do that. I'm just talking out of my own life experiences, and honestly, at certain points, I do tell people like you need to go find a professional, and that's what I'm doing right now.
I mean,
Sounds to
sometimes
me like,
hearing
uh huh,
experience is better than
yeah, of course,
hearing something someone's read in his textbook. And I'm not
yes,
saying that's all they do, because they do really help people, and they build a framework of all the clans they had. Like, I'm not saying it's just, oh, he's reciting from a textbook, but sometimes real examples can be more helpful.
you are totally right. You are totally right. But notice how I brought this up now, right? Not earlier.
Yeah,
Um, it's because you're starting to sound paradoxical. You're starting to sound like you're basically contradicting yourself. And I think at that point, I don't know if I can help you. I mean, I'm happy to share experiences all you want, but yeah, I don't know if that's what's going to convince you or be of use at this point.
well, at least we have some form of like clue as what's happening.
Yeah,
you
that's
know I'm
true.
basically I'm contradicting myself, that mm, I shouldn't do or can't do anything
Hmm.
until I'm good at it, but at the same time, you can't start doing because you're not good at it. It's like, yeah, that sort of thing.
Right, right.
At least I think that sort of thing.
No,
I
I
mean,
think that's quite accurate. And you said so yourself. You despise traditional education because everything's based on theoreticals and rote memorization, and you would rather have real experience. Well, this is a real
yeah,
experience that I'm telling you to get, right? if you don't get real experience, you're not going to be able to build up that confidence. If you don't will yourself to gain that experience, then it's a contradictory, you know. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. Well, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, your psychologist probably didn't work the first time. That's fine. Um, my younger brother has a psychologist because he has severe mental issues, and he knows it. He knows that he needs help. It took him about 6 psychologists to find a good psychologist who will actually help him. Well, once he did, he said it felt like a huge like weight got lifted off his shoulders because now he knows he's convinced that there is a person that knows how to help him in a very professional way. And I'm just saying that that's one testimonial, right? And I'm just saying that perhaps you should think about that. And there's no shame in going to a psychologist if you're that serious about fixing your life.
In a way, it's sort of like placing or taking your current concept and replacing it with a different one.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
putting
that's
in
it.
a placebo concept that you start thinking about more, and thus it becomes your new frame, and you get rid of the old one. Like,
Uh huh.
I always try rationalizing things like this, but even if they don't make a lot of sense. But
I think that's a good way of thinking about it. That's in a way how people get convinced by religion, right? It, religion starts with a presupposition that you have to at least start thinking it might be real. If you go in with a mindset of this can't be real, then you'll never be convinced.
yeah,
You know.
I
So
guess
that's
that's
why,
also
like,
where the
uh-huh.
if you yourself don't want to be helped, then nothing's gonna convince.
Exactly,
Nothing anyone says is gonna convince you.
exactly. It sounds like you want help. It sounds like you want some guidance. I mean, that's the whole point behind asking me to talk to you, right?
Yeah,
So if you at least have that willingness to get help, then I'm just saying, like, perhaps go look for a psychologist again and see what happens.
I have to find someone who's fluent in English first. That's one thing, because
Why is that?
I can't speak my own language very well because I don't use it,
Oh,
which is also a funny thing.
interesting.
Like ever since I got my first computer and
Uh
went
huh.
online in like
Uh huh.
fifth grade. Basically, everything's in English there, and
Uh huh.
because from everything I've explained so far and the zero reason for interacting with people during high school, it's like, well,
Uh huh.
I'm just gonna speak English all day and listen to English all day. I find uh, content creators in my own language very annoying, unentertaining, that sort of
Uh
thing.
huh. Uh huh.
So, yeah, I basically don't know how to speak properly because
I see.
all the words come in English. So that's the first thing I have to find is someone who speaks English.
Okay, then go ahead and do that. And if you can't find anybody good that speaks English in Bulgaria, go move somewhere else.
Just move somewhere else.
Yeah, go somewhere else. I'm not kidding. Like, you have to be willing to actually try things and do some effort to find the answers you want.
Okay, but how do you just go somewhere else?
Well, you create a plan. You said you're smart. Go ahead, make a plan and figure it out.
I've never had to.
Ask your parents. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
I'm
serious.
not
I've never
kidding.
had to. Like
Yeah,
it's always like,
then
hey,
perhaps
someone
now is the
else.
time. I'm not
It's
saying
always
that
like,
you
hey,
will,
someone
but
else come here and tell me what to do. That's why I was reluctant in being like in a leadership position because I don't know what to tell people. It's like I always expect someone to tell me what to do and not the opposite. So I don't know what to, how to create a plan, how to conduct something, and
yeah,
start to finish.
I mean, you got pretty frustrated at certain people during Hollow Rewind, and I understand that. I mean,
Yeah, and at the same time,
uh-huh.
I wasn't doing anything that would, help overall with uh, explaining what should be or what shouldn't be. But I was just there reacting to what was given as a response, like
Hmm.
that sort of thing.
Hmm.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
it's always like
yeah.
there's always has to be something or someone telling me what to do. Like even a dumb example, if I go onto Minecraft, I don't do anything. I can't do anything because there's no one to tell me what to do. It's like, what, slay the Ender Dragon? No, that's boring. So I would just sit around and close the game. There's no creative planning for things. There's no like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that.
Hmm.
That's just a byproduct of the same issue we have here. But
Sure, sure. Well, I'm telling you that perhaps you should consider what we talked about and all the things that we talked about, and possibly also seek some professional, guidance as well. And despite whatever experiences that you had in the past with them, is that a good conclusion for now?
I think so.
Okay, sounds good. I gotta
Okay, what
go.
do you think? Okay, one final thing, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Uh, so we say just move somewhere, but what happens if we go uh, through the whole loophole? Well, if I want to go somewhere, I have to first find a job and save up money. But if I can't find a job right now because I'm in university and I have to be like in classes all day during the day, so I have to finish university first in a few years, and then I go search for a job, etc., etc. What I like is this the actual process, or am I just creating a loophole of excuses to myself?
Hmm.
That sort of thing. Because I
Hmm.
know I love bringing this up, like, oh, I'll just wait until I finish university. I know I bring this up quite a lot.
I mean, that's a good question. I think that at some point you have to be willing to make some sacrifices, right? Instead of trying to lead to some min-max situation where where you're like trying to like figure out the most optimal way. You have to just come to a decision where you realize there are certain things that don't work and certain things that have to be sacrificed in order to get something done, right?
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to.
Yeah.
I hadn't
Uh,
considered it in that way. Like
yeah. Like
it's hey, it's a
I would say,
you're sacrificing this for that. Like I
right,
always, as you
right, right.
said, min max it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, like for example, like you're in college right now and you're doing CS. If you want to, finish that up, right, so that you can then get a job with a degree, sure, that makes sense, right? But perhaps your need for figuring out why you're even doing that in the first place is greater, then maybe you need to take a leave of absence for a little bit, right? Like that is not a that is not a crazy idea. I know a lot of people who have taken leave of absences from schooling or something like that and have come out for the better, and then they come back to university and they have a purpose in life and they do even better, right? Yes, they lost maybe 2, 3 years of their life, but what's the point of doing life if you don't know if you're constantly suffering, for example, right?
Hmm. Well,
I
first of all,
mean,
I don't know if we have such a thing as leave of absence. I'll have to check that. But
okay.
more importantly, I don't. The reason I instantly signed myself up for something after high school is because I don't think I'll do anything different if I
Mhm.
took a gap year. Like, if
Well,
I took a
no, no, no.
gap
I'm
year, it will
saying you.
basically.
Uh huh. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I might be misunderstanding.
I'm not saying take a gap year to think. I'm saying take a gap year so that you can move somewhere and you can find a psychologist that speaks English.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying, right? This is only a hypothetical. If you can't find anybody, like seriously anybody reasonable in Bulgaria, maybe within a reasonable distance, for example, that can speak English and work for you. Like
I mean,
I'm
it's a
saying,
small
don't.
country.
Yeah,
Distance probably wouldn't be of a matter.
all I'm saying is that don't give up on trying to find a psychologist just because, oh, I need them to speak English. And I don't think
Yeah,
that's an
but
unreasonable request either. I don't think it's weird. However, I do think that you can't give up because of it. That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
yeah, because if I had to explain all of this in Bulgarian, I would probably be still in the first 20 minutes that we had here. Like, I honestly, the moment I start saying a sentence, like the third or fourth word is like, oh, here, I don't know, here's the English word. Yeah, you figure it out.
Uh-huh.
and and even with my parents, is this constant. Like, my mother's probably learned more English from me asking what the translation of this English word is than her entire life before that. So it's kind of fun, actually.
I see. Well,
Yeah,
okay.
it seems like a plan.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. See what happens. I'd be interested in finding out, I am actually quite interested in what you end up doing. Um, because okay, so this sounds kind of weird, but I'm a scientist by heart, and I like running experiments.
Yeah, you like data. I mean, yeah,
And I like
you
to
want to
see
see
what, like,
the results, yeah, of course,
yeah,
if you're
yeah, yeah,
invested in
yeah.
something.
Exactly, exactly. So, there's that motivation, but I also do think that um, there's something better that you can do. I don't think you should think that you deserve to be in this kind of situation. I think that you should be interested in trying to make your life better. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Well,
sounds good on
anyways,
paper.
okay, okay. I'm gonna have to go, but see you later.
Oh, thank you for the conversation.
Yeah, no problem. See you.
Yeah.
So, if you're still on stream, how long does this crazy talk go? Can't believe I was playing Minecraft the entire time. I guess thanks for sticking around, Fish. I think you're the only person that actually stuck around. I have to go now, but I don't know if I'll have a stream like this ever again. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna log off now. Bye.